Robbie.
Steven, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Stand in the doorway. Get under a desk.
I don't think my table would. It would be great to hide under.
Is it IKEA?
I don't think
No. You gotta hide in the doorway.
Yeah.
You gotta hide in the door.
Is that so? Like furniture doesn't fall on you?
It's so stuff doesn't fall on you. Yeah.
I was like,
It's not furniture. I mean, sure.
While the earthquake was happening,
there was an earthquake in New York City.
I was debating
today, as of recording, it was today.
Is it better to run outside or to stay indoors?
It's probably better to stay where you are and get to a safe place. If you're outside, stay outside. It kind of depends on like what building you're in, but I think it's best to go to a doorway, right? I think that's what they say.
Yeah, by the door.
Yes, because you're in the doorway. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's just safe for like home intruders too. If they're there, stand by the door.
What? Why?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of another.
I don't think that's true.
Because then
I think hide under your bed.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Didn't you ever watch movies?
Yeah, that's what I always said. You should have a giant painting where there's a giant hole behind it that you can hide behind. Because the bed, obviously, they're gonna know you're. You might as well put a lampshade over your head. And when you hide behind the curtains, they're gonna look for your shoes poking out from the bottom.
Unless you can float, in which case, do that.
Float where?
Up.
If you can like manage to wedge yourself.
Just listen to the alcohol content of the bourbon that we're drinking. Robbie, what are we talking about in this episode?
We're talking about earthquakes. We're talking about X-Men 97. We're talking about Spider-Verse short that came out. We're talking about Harold and the Purple Crayon. We're talking about the trailer for that. We're talking about the Garfield trailer.
Kind of.
Oh, I had a point that I wanted to make. Listen.
All right, do it now.
Both movies were fine. Trailers were okay, whatever. They remind me of movies that are on where someone has, you go to someone's house and they have the TV on just for the kids to shut up and have it on, but the kids are ignoring it. And then their couches are full of like crumbs and potato chip crumbs and stuff like that. And it reminds you of those kind of movies. Or
that sounds like a home I want to go to.
A bus movie. Where you have no choice but to
I feel like
one.
No, I feel like a bus movie's like Little Dicky or something, or Little Nicky. Little Dicky.
Little Dicky. What kind of buses are you?
Someone accidentally brought the porn parody. Okay, so I'm just going to say, since we already said this, it's an explicit episode. It takes us probably like 45 minutes before we swear, but... Oh, and then we also talk about the AI created Chinese show that was...
Yeah.
That's, yeah. So we do a little AI watch there.
Yeah.
Our newest segment.
New segment, yeah.
Our newest segment.
New, like AI.
And disappointing, like AI.
Mm-hmm. And Little Dicky.
Damn it. We have a name for the episode, but now I kind of want to call it Little Dicky. Let's just move on, all right? I want to say welcome to episode 297 of the Robert Animation Podcast, and we're calling this one Harold and Kumar Go to Purple Castle. Yeah, we did it. I don't think we have to say every title together.
No, but I feel like this is what the people were asking for. So,
all right. It's great that we start drinking very early into the show because they're going to understand. Everyone who listens to this show knows that we record the intro at the end. Mm-hmm. We did a beer and a shot, which... I mean, it was more than a shot. I mean, there was 2 fingers in that glass.
Yeah. 2 fingers in it?
The pour.
Oh. Yeah. Gross.
There was a scene in Little Dicky.
I'm Don Bluth.
I'm Harry Partridge.
Hi, I'm Tom Moore, teenage superhero.
My name's Adam Phillips.
This is Robert Valley.
And I'm in no way doing a forced plug. No, sorry. I won't say that. Definitely confident.
And you're listening to...
I think we should just start.
Yes.
With the how you doing. The how you doing segment. We call it a how you do. We call it a how you doing segment just so that I can put it in the timestamp so that people know. Listen, if you just want to hear us get to the show, get to talking about stuff and not talk to each other as human beings, you can skip it. We had a.
So what's shaking?
It was very unsettling. We had an earthquake today in New York City. It's not the first earthquake that we've had, but I will say it's probably the most substantial. I guess that we, it was this. What did they say? It was this. It's a 4 point.
Oh, was it 4.4? Yeah.
4 points. No, not 4.4. I thought it was 4.7. Are we getting it wrong immediately? Yeah, but anyway, it was
obviously everyone in New York thought it was a truck. Like there's always this truck that's going around.
4.7 magnitude earthquake that was in Jersey.
Yeah.
That actually shook. I was at the vet at the time, and that's exactly what I think I texted you that because I was in the room. They were just about to take the puppy out. It was a normal checkup, whatever. And all of a sudden, it started kind of shaking and rumbling. And I was like, the first thing I said was like, "Is that an earthquake?" And then the people that were out front were like, "No, it's a truck. A big truck is was just going by." Because I mean, of course, a big truck is always going by. It's reasonable. And the other thought that I had was like, are we over the subway station? Because that was the other thing. Is that a train? Because it felt too big to be a truck. And then after that, I got all these texts. Just like I was like, either that truck has gotten around, or that was an earthquake.
Well, I looked at my cup of water and then I saw that it was shaking, and I said, "That's either an earthquake
or T-Rex.
Or there's a T-Rex around the corner." No,
let's go faster.
Yeah, I was just like,
I feel like we need.
Oh, yes.
We need to just get to the bourbon.
Yes.
Now, can I just say that I had a poker night, and one of our friends brought over this thing. It's called larceny, and I was looking at it, okay, I always read, I always acknowledge. It's like when someone gives you a business card or something, like hold it with both hands and read it and inspect it and, do the whole, whatever.
Yeah.
I looked at it and it says, proof, 124.2. That means that the alcohol by volume is 62.1%.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge. You could light this thing on fire.
I mean, we're going to feel like there's another earthquake after this.
That's why I'm going.
Wait, everything's shaking.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Start with the good. and end with the bad. I don't know where I'm going. Okay.
Nice.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Woo-wee.
All right.
Let me just give it a smell.
I feel like what I should have done is I should have done like something like.
I mean, that's how I knew the earthquake, because the liquor bottles were like banging into each other, like I was like, oh, this is an earthquake, and I was so angry that I didn't record
cheers
it.
to surviving the earthquake of 2024.
We did it.
Actually, earthquake on Friday after torrential downpour all week.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, we have a total solar eclipse.
It's the end of the world.
If this were a couple hundred years ago, everyone would be like, so the world's ending, right? A couple hundred years ago, maybe longer than that. Yeah. Ooh,
wow.
That's warm. It's also very sweet.
It's warm, but it's not like intense.
It's very, very sweet. It's a very sweet bourbon.
Wow.
Yeah. You like this one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might pick me up some. It's pretty good.
Are you going to do anything for the solar eclipse?
Well, I'm working, but I know we are going to.
Yeah, but it's at 3. Is when you'll see it starts at
we're gonna
2.
try to do rehearsal early and then go out and maybe I'll step outside the building.
I would imagine they would want to do that too. Yeah.
If you're working in the building, people are gonna go up and see
go up on the roof. Yeah.
But from my house, I'll probably go downstairs and we did get glasses.
Yeah, I got glasses too. Yeah, I'm gonna make my way up
because the next one won't happen until we're like 60. I was told.
You mean here in New York? Yeah. The totality, it's going to be in full totality in Syracuse. So like my family that's still back there is like, they're going to go out. It's going to be like nighttime, when it's totally,
But
if you have an opportunity, what's that?
Because that's the time around rehearsal normally, my body is known to go like, this is when you poop now. Because
Oh no!
so I'm probably gonna
So
have
the sun is gonna get blocked, and then your stomach is gonna start rumbling.
gotta see the eclipse.
It's I mean that's a recipe for a moment in a comedy. It feels like that's a very Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of. While everyone else is watching this miracle of nature, you're just going to be inside pooping and scrolling on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could just Google what it looks like.
Please don't do that. Go outside.
Yes.
Do we have anything to say about the wonder of nature?
I mean, no. I mean, hopefully this is just nature and not if we see the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse flying on Tuesday, then that's it. Goodbye, bud. This is our last show. Or
I was going to say let's make it a good one, but I don't.
Listen, we were talking about Garfield, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that later, I guess. Let's. Do you want to get into the first story then?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I mean, we don't really need to make this a segment. I mean, we could say it's animation news of the week, but we're not.
Yes.
We're going to say
Animation. That's it.
Yeah, I guess let's start with X-Men 97 because I think that we mentioned that.
Yeah.
Before we finally saw it. It's on Disney Plus. My short review of it is I got Saturday morning cartoons back.
Oh
man.
yeah, definitely.
Did you put it on Saturday morning? Because that was
no. I literally
that was
watched
great.
it today.
You know, I did. I had some bagels left over, and I just like improv. I went, you know what? I got to pause this. I think I have to make a pizza bagel.
This was in the morning?
This was in the morning. I just.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess when pizza's on a bagel, you could eat it anytime.
Okay, cheers. I was going to come at you for that. Nice.
I did, while watching it, I was like, oh, this would be great to maybe give myself a week to watch each episode. Wait, was it a weekly series?
Yeah. Yep.
And do it in the morning.
Yep.
I have some Captain Crunch in the cabinet.
Yeah. I was going to get Apple Jacks, yeah.
And just watch it in in
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing that this weekend. I'm probably because I'm not caught up. I watched 3 episodes.
There's not many out, right? Or is it?
I think there's 3, right? There was 2 when I watched. I don't know if they dropped 2 at once.
Oh, okay.
But then there was
4.
Yeah. So I saw 3. I think maybe I saw. I think I saw 3. Because I kind of watched 2 in one sitting, and then I watched another one. I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good, and not just for the nostalgia factor of it. There was something that I saw recently. You know, the making of the original, the designs and everything. Mainly how they were able to take the designs from the original '90s X-Men and keep the essence of it. Because they really do. I mean, it looks
the shading,
but
the
also
thickness of the lines,
the detail of the line work. Yes,
yeah.
There are so many lines in there, and it was interesting to hear someone talk about they designed the characters. They pulled it back to a general animated character thing, which is usually you want to reduce the amount of lines. It's called mileage. You want to reduce the amount of lines that describe features on the internal of a design that is not controlled by color or shading or anything that would go on top of it. There would be anything that puts all of that work on the same team, right? Yeah. You want to kind of like reduce that. So they actually added a lot more. They added more lines to make it look a little closer to the line work of the comic books and stuff, which I appreciate, but it does make those designs very, very difficult to animate. And I think that there's something too. Actually, it didn't really occur to me until I think I saw that. It was a series of interviews. I mean, it was just people on Zoom. But now that we have such, it's strange that we have the technology that we have now to be able to make that kind of stuff easier. The mileage aspect is maybe not as big of a deal as it once was when you were really inking by hand, everything. But we have kind of pulled back on the detail of the line work for characters in modern designs, and in favor of some very complicated shading and coloring. But it almost feels like maybe we should look at bringing more line work,
like scaling back on like the creases of like a coat or something.
That's what people have been doing, but I think that is, in a way, it's almost like maybe that's old thinking. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you think about it?
I thought, it's weird because normally X-Men was one of those things. Like in the past, I kind of looked at older cars, like G.I. Joe I liked, but I never really got completely into it. And while watching this, I'm talking about like different shows that came out. There was something you showed me the other day, and it was like the designs, like I told you, it just didn't work for me because of the like, I guess like kind of, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily say Avatar as the Airbender thing.
Oh, I know. You're talking Arc.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It was.
What would you call this style? Like this kind of like, because my mom calls it skinny cartoons because it doesn't look like round, chubby characters, or like, or it's like SpongeBob's you would call a fat cartoon, which it makes no sense, but it does. And
you've described this before on the podcast. She would
call Thundercats skinny cartoons because they look, to her, they're not appealing. They're very like,
right. So I would kind of consider those like action figure cartoons.
Yeah,
where they the proportions, and again the line work. It kind of it feels like you're drawing an action figure.
Yeah,
G.I. Joe was a good example. He-Man, all those, and I know it's obviously of a time, but X-Men. I mean, I had so many X-Men toys.
I had a couple of them. Like
I had a lot of X-Men toys. Every single time we went to the store, there was a Kmart and Price Chopper and those things that had their toy aisle, and you go down there and it was X-Men first, and they even had those. Now I can't remember the name of the place. Like the was it the primitive world? It was like they went to this world and there was like dinosaurs there. There was a creature that was I can't remember the name of the it's lost somewhere in the back of my brain, but there was like a pterodactyl character who had, I think, like hypnotism powers.
So he was immune.
Kind of like Ka from the Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't think I went that far into.
I had that character. Now I can't remember it. Man, it's kind of bumming me out.
Did you know the kid who
but
called?
The reason it brings me up is because of Arc that you just brought up, which maybe we can mention a little bit about.
Did you know? Well, I love the action figures, but for some reason, But X-Men was one of those things I liked, and I think because X-Men is like, you kind of relate to their stories as feeling like the being different, and there is a kind of like connection there, which I feel like there is a Oscar-winning X-Men movie that hasn't been made, that seems like it's something that can be made because it's so relatable to, like,
I mean, the first X-Men starts with a Nazi internment camp opening with Magneto. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. That was one of the first comic book movies that came out. Was like, oh, so this is like good. This is a good comic book movie. I think the one that blew everyone's minds was Spider-Man in 2002, Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man. I think that was the one that really was like, oh, comic book movies. Because Blade came out in the 90s, and that, that was another one that was, I think that was probably the biggest comic book movie that I can think of.
Blade.
I mean, big. You know what I'm saying? Big comic. I mean, aside from DC, I mean, the whole like Superman in the 70s and Batman in the 80s, and I mean Marvel stuff is what I mean. What's that?
I said they tried with Spawn. They
tried with Spawn. I do remember Spawn being, it it was relatively popular. Yeah. I think I've said this so many times, but the do you smell?
Is it like something baked?
It smells like. Yeah, it kind of smells like plastic. It smells like burning plastic, doesn't it?
Is there a fire outside?
That's not great. I'm going to pause this.
We've had earthquakes.
Yeah. I'm just going to check real quick. It burns. No, it's fine. It's some I don't know, someone probably grilling or something. I don't know. Anyway,
what drew my attention to this, because I had it on and I actually watched it. I didn't look at my phone at any parts. It made me happy to watch it, and I think I like the kind of recreating a style from the older, like from the 90s, but like they did it in a way where it wasn't like they were trying really hard to make it that way, but there were improvements in things.
Have you watched Invincible?
No.
So
I would watch. Yeah, that was.
So you should check it out. I bet you'd like it. I'm enjoying it. I never read the comic. I remember one of my friends like desperately wanted me to read that comic book, and I don't really want to. I probably should have. It seems like a good comic. I did read The Walking Dead, which was it's Robert Kirkman was the creator of Invincible. And so I was like, all right, well, I got one from this guy that you like are trying to shove down my throat, and I was like, oh, this is really, really good. But that style, the design style, the animation style, it's more angular, which is probably what your mom would call skinny cartoons.
Yeah.
But it's almost like that looked like there's maybe too many lines, but if you gave them even more to shape out the body and the face and some of the features and stuff, that would be the look of X-Men. And more than that, I think that it does another good job of kind of updating some of the stuff for now, for 2024.
Yeah,
because it's not like the themes or the stories or anything are any different, or the characters for that matter. It's just when you tell a story in a decade, it takes the flavor of that decade.
Yeah. And
I think it's nostalgia in a certain way, but I do think that it actually works very well for now, story wise. The acting, I know that people have been saying things about they're getting a lot of the old voice actors to do their original characters. And I mean, that's great for the continuity, I guess, of if you watch the original series and then you continue on, it's great they have those characters. But there's the writing is good. The dialogue is very stilted.
Yeah.
But like kind of in a fun way. It kind of feels like, I've been watching Star Trek The Next Generation just because, listen, every time I feel like the world is just getting like worse, I put on Star Trek The Next Generation. I just feel like I just need to feel like there is
I remember there was nothing but that on the TV.
Because I was going through something and I'm like, I need to know that there is. It kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like a centering
like
thing. I don't know if that
your comfort.
Chicken soup for the soul.
Yeah.
I don't know if that reveals anything about me that I don't want revealed, but like it does. It makes me feel good. There's an idealistic kind of thing there, pursuing knowledge and trying to live the best life, be understanding and helpful and altruistic and all those kinds of things. The dialogue in that show is so soap opera. And that's kind of the way that I feel in X-Men. It's a very soap opera. Absolutely. Yeah. In the 90s one, yes, it has. It definitely was. And if you want an example of that, just listen to the 90s version of Shakespearean dialogue that they give to Apocalypse. It is amazing.
I am the rocks of the eternal shore. Crash against me and be broken.
There was a line that Gambit said. I wrote it down because I took a little bit of notes here on this piece of paper here.
Oh, okay.
It was give them the forecast. And I thought that was really funny.
Oh, okay. So listen, give them the forecast was a pretty badass moment, though.
I mean, it was a badass moment, but when he first said it, I was like, "Oh, that's wonderfully corny." Like,
yes, no, it is, but it leads up to and the line of like, alpha mutant detected. Like, I don't even think in the show, if you don't know anything about it, they haven't described what an alpha mutant is, but basically it's like the most powerful type of mutant is an alpha mutant.
Yeah. That's what Andrew Tate describes himself as.
What?
Alpha mutant.
Wait. I'm sorry. In my head, I heard Alfred E. Newman. What? What did you say? This is what?
Alpha mutant.
Who? Oh.
Andrew Tate.
Listen, he just an alpha. Oh,
he just capitalized on the word alpha.
And then again, I was thinking Alf.
Yeah.
Alf is an Alf. Alf.
No, I just want to read Alf. I want to read Andrew Tate's tweets as Alpha. Uh-huh. Oh my God, there's something there. Yeah. Alf. Anyway, what I liked about this is they kept it very.
You should do. I'm just gonna pitch this to you now. You should just have Alf have a podcast, and his podcast is called Alf. I feel like you should do that.
Okay.
Because you know what, you could create a character animator puppet of Alf, and you just all you have to do is you just have to come up with the dialogue, and you could perform that thing pretty quickly. It's all in one room. He's basically got like an Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh kind of show. Andrew Tate, I guess. Yeah.
They canceled me because they tried to silence me.
I don't know, man. Have you seen the behind the scenes stuff? I'm pretty sure he said the N-word in one of the.
Yeah. That was Alf. Was Look it up.
Yeah. No, don't look it up. No, I just told you what it is. You don't need any more context than that.
Listen, if you want to hear Alf say something inappropriate. No, not even it's important.
I just told you what it was. You don't need any more context.
Moving on to the X-Men. Not moving on to the X-Men.
Continuing with the X-Men.
Yes. What I liked is that they kept it very much Saturday morning cartoon.
Yep.
But they also had adult elements in it.
Yeah. Oh,
blood. Yeah. I love when they were in the club.
That was great. Yeah.
It was fun to hang out with the X-Men.
Especially if you have a character like Jubilee in there. Yeah. Whose powers are like disco powers.
Her dance.
Yeah.
With the effects.
Oh, yeah.
But there was one awkward moment where she was dancing with the new guy, and her body's moving, but her head, she's wearing those glasses, so you can't tell if she's looking at him or she's looking at. So it looks like she's looking straight forward.
Yeah.
And her body she's looking straight forward, but her body was at a 3/4 angle, and she's doing this weird dance.
Yeah.
That looked.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I kind of like that they kept a lot of awkward looking animation, even in the beginning. When I don't know if it looked exactly the same in the original series, but at the very end when they all collide into each other, they do this weird turn before they all run into each other.
So I think that is in the original. I mean, turns obviously are really hard in. Yeah. I sounded like my dad. Turns are really hard. Turns are really hard in animation, especially at the time. And so you would often if someone was. And they didn't. You didn't tween a character in the background. So, instead of turning the character as they're fading in the background, you would animate them getting smaller and smaller, and then in the last 8 frames, have them rotate instead of rotate the whole way.
Sorry,
are you showing something?
I think I recorded it here. So this turn right there.
I mean that. You mean the collision there?
Yeah.
Let me. Wait. Play. Yeah. I think that's probably right. No, the opening was great. The music is great. Usually, I've said this. I think about DuckTales. Woo. I think I said when you remake like an older theme like that, for some reason they have a tendency to flatten it.
Yeah.
So it was like DuckTales, woo. You know, it wasn't like DuckTales, woo. You know, it didn't have the you know, the snappiness of it. You know, it didn't pop, man. It didn't pop.
Yeah. Gotta pop those ducks.
And so you know, and I kind of felt like, they kept a bit of that pop. There was one line where I think it was supposed to be did a different lick for that moment. It's just because I think that theme is just ingrained in my brain, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that they, because you know there was like some copyright issue with that song.
Yeah, because apparently it sounded exactly like a series that was already out, but I think it was in another country.
Yes, and I think
country.
This is another
This
country.
is TikTok, Rob.
I think that it maybe they needed to change it very slightly. Yeah, like even more than it was, so that they. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just my hypothesis.
It still sounded great.
It sounds great, and the opening theme is great, and you know I love that they still have the character bios and stuff. I don't remember if those character bios, because I remember I was rewatching it. Oh, you know what? This is going to be so strange. We're talking a lot about this, but I mean it is a big nostalgia thing for me. But I think I was actually rewatching the show. The X-Men, the 90s X-Men, while I was doing the first video blogs. Like when I was putting all that stuff together.
So that was like your background?
Yeah, I had two computers. Yeah, I think I was watching, because I remember after that, I went on to X-Men Evolution, which I loved, by the way. Have you seen X-Men Evolution?
No.
It's very good.
Wait, this was like an animated series?
Yes. Yeah, it was an animated series. I think it was the one before Wolverine and the X-Men. I don't remember but I remember X-Men Evolution. I remember watching that. I didn't know anything. I didn't really get anything about it. I think the Apocalypse, I really remember the Apocalypse storyline for that. The characters are very good. The designs are great. You know, they're different. They're updated they're very of that time.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of like the 2003 TMNT animated series that I like so much. It's kind of if you expand from that to the X-Men Evolution. I don't know. I'm really generalizing, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I loved the X-Men, the animated series that was in the 90s. I'm loving this right now.
Yeah.
But in a funny way, I think the reason that I'm liking it is not necessarily that it is like the original, but I think that there's facets about the 90s show that work today. Mm-hmm. But not because they're nostalgic, but because they actually just work for today. And I think that I don't know if they knew that or if they meant for that. I was feeling nostalgic, which is why I made the pizza bagel.
Yeah.
But I mean, after like the second episode, when I watched the third episode, I'm just watching the show now. I'm just enjoying the show. Yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm liking what they're doing with the story. You know, having.
How do you feel about some of the character? Like, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but some of Professor Xavier, his situation.
No, I'm fine with that. I like that. You have to find. I really like what they did with Cyclops, because especially since it's long been a nerd thing that Cyclops, he's not shooting lasers out of his eyes. His laser blasts are concussive blasts. They push.
Yeah.
They don't burn, you know, but they're like high energy blasts that like push someone like a I guess like a like the concussive force of a bomb can like throw you, like it's like that.
So it's not cutting you in half.
It's like a very concentrated like explosion, that's like hitting you in the chest kind of thing. It's a punch. It's a big punch in the chest, but it is very powerful. It's very, very hard. And he can regulate how much he does it with his visor. His visor is ruby quartz, right? Helps him control the thing. And in this one, his fight scene that he has
that was great.
Is so great because he actually uses his eye blast. He uses that to push himself and like propel himself across the room. So he's kind of like using it to strafe. It's great. It's a really inventive. I've never seen that used in that way, but it is comic accurate.
What do you think about?
I really liked it.
What do you think about Magneto's design?
I mean, it's fabulous. I don't know. I think
out of all of them, he looks the most like an anime character.
Yes, the thing is, he looked like that in the original series when you saw him without his stuff. When he was in like the Brotherhood of Mutants, when he didn't have it, he looked like that. He grew his hair out. Yes, it's not.
Like this is Sisterhood of the
Traveling Pants? Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants? No, that didn't even faze me. I think the thing that I saw in the show is when Gambit had a midriff shirt on.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, people are gonna hate that.
Oh, people did. Yep,
yeah,
they.
See, but the thing is, I liked that.
Yeah, that was a very '90s look.
Gambit. First of all, also Gambit. You know what? We haven't sworn yet, right?
No. It's time for you to sworn in.
I don't think... should we swear on this episode?
Yeah.
Okay, Gambit's a fuckboy. Right?
I mean, yeah, he walks around with cards.
I mean, Gambit...
That's one of those... That's the first thing you do in one of those, like, how to talk to women.
Gambit walks around with playing cards. Hey, that's a good one.
Let me show you girls a card trick.
Uh-huh. He calls everyone Cher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course he's gonna walk around with this shirt.
He's got the Cajun accent. I mean, yeah. No, I like what they did with Gambit. I think it makes sense for Gambit. Gambit, and I'm making the joke about Gambit, but I actually think that Gambit has always been a very like. How would you describe freewheeling? Like he's kind of a casual kind of character. He's from it's like a band of thieves down in New Orleans. I think it works for him, and I know that people made a big. You told me, right? People made a big deal about Morph, being non-binary. Why would that not make sense for a shapeshifter?
Yeah,
identity. For a shapeshifter is complicated. It has to be complicated, right?
Now, I was kind of confused because didn't Worf die in the first episode?
In the first episode, yes.
In the 90s?
Yes. And I think, and I don't remember the last season. I mean, you know this in the, or do you not know this? The original series, it was animated by one studio up until some like budget cut thing, I guess, in the last season. The last season was animated by a different group, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so it looks completely different. Everything was like completely different.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, maybe something happened there. I'm not really sure. Anyway, I really liked it. I've been enjoying it. I think it's one of those that it has a nostalgia feel to it. But for a lot of reasons, I think it works. And I would like to see more of this kind of animation.
Yeah.
Not for a throwback feel, but like that's why I brought up Invincible, because Invincible is it's a new series. It's it's based off a comic book that was from the 2000s, but there's no reason you can't update that, design style. And there's other things. I mean, you see some angular design style for Castlevania, which had an anime feel to it, but it's not really anime.
I think for me,
Western anime or whatever you want to call it.
For me, the line work is very important. If you have really thin lines,
right,
it just kind of doesn't.
There is a tendency now that I'm starting to get a little tired of. And listen, I've picked up Toon Boom. I'm enjoying it. I like it. I use it maybe 1 hour a day. I can't really spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of what I call the Toon Boom look, which is and I know Toon Boom can do weighted lines, but there's something about Toon Boom rigs when people build them. They build them with, solid, straight, unweighted lines.
Yeah.
That seems to be very prevalent in animation now. And I would like to see more weighted lines. I would like to see more attention to the line work in the designs of a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I appreciate it.
I'm very excited to see more of it.
How do I transition? I don't even remember the name.
Excuse me, but I think we're moving on to another story, which
what was it called?
Was it the Spider-Man? The Spider-Verse?
Yes, but what was it called?
It was
A Spider Within. Nailed it.
Got it. Didn't even have to look that up.
So yes, A Spider Within. We saw it. It was great. It was not a replacement for Beyond the Spider-Verse, the movie that was supposed to come out when this short was released on YouTube. It came out. I guess it premiered in Annecy this year. Which I gotta get back to Annecy, but it premiered there, and
is that Shaggy?
Gee, Scoobs. It premiered there, and nobody really knew, like, was it going to go? I think we just all assumed it was going to go up on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
but then they just dropped it on YouTube, and I didn't know much about it. You're the one who actually sent it to me because I knew that it.
I thought it was going to be just kind of a thing to tie people over,
right?
Because like we're going to kind of sprinkle some like animated shorts until the second half of that movie comes out, and I thought it was related to the movie.
So the interesting thing about it, looking this up actually on SonyPicturesAnimation.com, if you go to the thing the Spider Within, a Spider-Verse story, I would like to say, please stop doing that.
What?
A something story, like a Star Wars story, a Spider-Verse story, just
a Spider Within is
a Spider Within is fine. Just make it an animated short. It's fine. You don't need to say this is part of a collection of things. Like, leave that up to streamers to say that, Spider-Verse shorts or something like that. Like, it doesn't need to. There's too much branding before a thing is done. Like, this is the first short. If you're really planning on doing a bunch of these shorts, then fine. Then continue it. But if you've only greenlit one and you're like, yeah, we should probably have like a selection of these, don't do that. Don't do that until it comes out, because then you're going to end up with, like, remember the Universal Dark Universe thing? They had that whole, like, and that didn't go anywhere. It's just embarrassing. Don't put the cart before the horse, right?
Or at least call it a web short.
Sure. It's good.
Because of spiders.
Yeah. I mean, they should have a web series a web series of shorts.
Spider-Man, Spider-Verse web series. Call it that.
Yeah, it just rolls off the tongue. It's so easy. Why don't they just get you to do that? Anyway, so I'm reading this about.
Yeah.
It says, from SonyPicturesAnimation.com. The Spider Within, a Spider-Verse story, was developed and produced in the inaugural year of Sony Pictures Animation and Sony Pictures Imageworks, leading and empowering new storytellers, LENS for short, program, a 9-month leadership training program that provides candidates from underrepresented groups with an opportunity to gain valuable leadership experience in animation. The final deliverable of the program is an all-original short film set in the existing world of a feature produced by SBA and SPI. So this was part of a program.
Yeah.
I'm curious how the thing, like, how it was, how it was written, like how it came up. Was it by committee? Was it by a group? Was it done in a way that was like, okay, so we have leadership for writing, we have leadership for storyboard, or we have leadership for, and
instead
then
of picking out one story out of a group,
not like a group project, not like Top Chef is back. I'm watching Top Chef again. The when they get together and they do something as a group.
Yeah.
I'm imagining, just because, let me read this second part. The Lens program is backed by Sony Pictures Entertainment's global multi-pronged racial equity and inclusion strategy, Sony Pictures Action. The program's goal, I'm not really meaning to be like an advertising arm, but this is important to the discussion, I guess.
Yeah.
The program's goal is to provide creatives who have traditionally lacked access to leadership roles with a first-hand opportunity to deepen their understanding of every element. It's an old-timey train outside. Did you hear that? First-hand opportunity to deepen their understanding of every element of the animated filmmaking process, including production design, animation, visual effects, lighting, sound, and various post-production processes. Through the program, participants strengthen their ability to effectively articulate the film's creative vision and collaborate across a variety of disciplines. So that's the part that makes me think that maybe it wasn't a committee thing story-wise. Maybe it was something that the story maybe was outside of the production part of it. Maybe it was more in the visual aspect of that side of things. But the storyboards is part of stories in the name, so they would be able to add their own touches to the story and the direction of things. But maybe the writing portion of it was done already. Maybe that's,
yeah. I feel like it's something that can, maybe it was just funneled down into that final story.
Well, yes, I'm thinking that maybe they already wrote.
Oh, okay.
A short, and this was part of the program. Part of the program is to it might have been an application process or something, but the people that were part of the leadership program, to put them in charge of producing this animated short, and then you can change slightly the direction of some of the story beats in the way that they happen, or the intensity that they're focused upon. Yeah, through these the different parts of animation. It's one of the things that I really love about animation is I think a lot is made of writers and the script and things like that, and that's true. I mean, of course, you have to have a strong script, but one thing that happens with a lot of scripts is the visual subtext is something that is usually a little bit more difficult to put into a script. Sometimes there are redundancies in a script, either through dialogue or through something that might not that might be able to be conveyed quicker through a look or through a moment or through just the staging of a certain situation. Like, you might not need to have a character say what they're feeling in a certain way if it can be conveyed in another way. And so that's where a script is a great place to start, and it tells people what you want to do. But then through live action, I think everyone understands when you cast an actor, the actor starts embodying the character. You get a director, the director, and with the production designer, and all the producers are putting together things, through all the craft to make the set what it is. And they get on set and they go, oh, we can film it in this certain way. They slightly start changing things, and that's where you get different color pages because they're writing new dialogue to things. for animation, it's like that, but in a much longer process. It's not like you don't really have the opportunity of like getting on set and looking around and going, how am I going to shoot this? How am I going to, whatever. But what you do is you have storyboards that can consolidate some of the information that's in the script in a visual way. They can communicate other subtext that might have been set up earlier. You might have actually said something with the text, with the dialogue.
Yeah.
You might have said something earlier that you can call back to visually in another scene that might not have actually been in the script. So everyone kind of adds something to it. And that goes all the way down to, I don't want to say down, but I'm saying down the line to things like lighting and effects. And I'm thinking Ratatouille, right? The effects in Ratatouille. You're thinking
how to express his feelings when he's merging two different kind of
yes, and
together.
that would be effects animation, and that's usually thought of not as an afterthought, but that effects animation usually comes in the end, and the synesthesia moment was very important, and that's probably something that director, obviously, Brad Bird needs to think about and talk about, and they probably work that out all in storyboarding stuff. But when it comes times to actually make it and time it out, there's little things here or there. I'm just listening to a podcast recently that was just talking about Predator. It's just going through all John McTiernan's stuff and starts with Predator. Well, it doesn't start with Predator. I started with Predator, but they're talking about the guy that's in the suit. He's 7'2" dude. Harry and Henderson's. I forgot his name. Kevin something.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he and I guess there was an interview where he was talking about in Fangoria, where he was talking about all of the stuff, the subtle things that he did to kind of give you an idea about what is in the mind of the predator. The speed in which he whips his head around, the way he moves his fingers, to kind of give some internal life to the predator. And the guys in the podcast, Blank Check, the guys in the podcast, we're talking about how, like, every other person who's played the predator after that is using the visual language that he used. Like, someone, he didn't even realize how iconic his performance was going to be. He just thought, like, I'm doing my best and maybe no one's going to notice it. And I feel like sometimes we get into that place where you feel like I'm doing something, no one's going to notice this. And you don't know when you're going to do something that's going to be iconic.
It's that walk. Is that phrase? They walked so you can run.
I mean, sure. I just like the collaborative part of it. And I think that, this is, reading it, it's a good thing. It's a good program. I was kind of wondering how they were going to produce the short, but the thing what I would like to know is what did they each impart into the story?
Like how did they go about like putting this together?
And you don't have to. I mean, sometimes you look at it and go like, you know what, this works. I know technically how to precisely do this thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like it can stand alone on its own as a story.
Yeah.
If Miles Morales wasn't crawling on a ceiling, then like it could have just been like a regular kid having a nightmare of a giant spider.
I think I mentioned I had an exact nightmare.
Yeah.
Of a figure standing at the foot of the bed, and, like, standing over you and pushing you down into the bed.
I get sleep paralysis all the time, like a lot.
Yeah.
So watching
don't
that
anymore. I did when I was younger.
Oh, I had it recently.
That's why I don't believe in aliens.
Oh, really? Leanne was like, she was like, you sounded like you were making monkey noises the other day. It was because I was having sleep paralysis, and like the demon monster was like whispering in my ear, and I'm like, I was saying help in monkey.
And she was just going.
She sounds like a monkey.
By the way, you have a gas monkey shirt on.
Oh yeah!
Right now.
Oh my god!
Gas monkey garage.
But it really does stand on its own. But it also works in this universe because the whole thing is pretty much a metaphor of how like his Spider-Man abilities is overwhelming him.
Yeah, it's the anxiety of dealing with that stuff, and not just that, but that his whole life he's like letting everyone down. His whole life is being pulled back because of his Spider-Man stuff. He's dealing with a lot of things about letting people down, and I I liked the concept of it was great, but the visual storytelling, as always, is very, very good in these Spider-Verse things. And I really, really like his relationship with his family, with his dad, with his mom. At first you kind of bummed because his dad's like kind of trying hard. He's like, hey, it's just us. He's like, I'm just going to go. And you're like, oh man, such a teenager thing to do, really. But, then you kind of feel like, man. But it kind of works out in the end. They have a different kind of bonding time, which I think is probably more meaningful to his dad.
And I so badly want to watch that horror movie that his father was watching.
I know. I thought it was very good, and the visuals were very good.
Some of the shots there, it made me think. I think we talked about this before.
Horror.
But a Friday the 13th animated series.
Yep.
Teenage boy getting chased, and there's like red lights and stuff. And like, how great would that be?
Yep. I think it could be. They did undercut some of the scariness with the type of screaming that he was doing. It was a little silly. I think they just didn't want to make it too scary. They had the opportunity to, though.
Do you think there's someone who would jump from the first sight of him as
standing
a
in the bed
figure?
Yeah. I think
I wish that made me jump.
I think there was a good it's a good start for some things. We've always said you can do horror with stop motion. I'm actually starting. I think I mentioned this recently, not on the podcast. I think it was just in a conversation about how I've watched a few horror, or at least violent, but considered horror animated movies. And the thing that I think in my mind that you kind of, I think it's a wrong approach to do gore in animated horror. Just because you don't have the visceral reaction to it. I think it has to be fucked up. It has to be psychological.
But I think we're also desensitized with cartoon characters being like murdered.
That's the thing. The cartoon character already automatically is an avatar. It's a bit separated, right? But I think the thing that makes animation so interesting is that if you're already starting from a place saying this is not a living, breathing character, but I am believing that this is a living, breathing character because I can associate it with the themes and the personality and things. Like what you're doing is you're drawing a line between things, and it can make you feel even deeper because you're connecting it not with reality but with emotional reality. Yeah. And I think that is where animation has an opportunity to kind of get past some of your defenses in a way that live action can't. With live action, you can do some gore stuff that's like, ooh, it's kind of, because it's directly related. You're seeing, I don't know, someone's like finger getting chopped off or something like that. And you've cut your finger before, but if you see that in animation, it's not necessarily as, like, maybe if you saw something really gruesome, maybe it would get you for a second, but probably not. I think it has to be a little bit more psychological. It has to be more disturbing. It has to be a visual that is that's so creepy that it kind of makes you squirm a little bit. Like it makes you,
Yeah, there's some 3D
which I think they touched on very lightly in the beginning portion of that, and during the transformation sequence in the subway.
Oh yeah, which I wish they pushed more. Like it did that thing where the arms kind of got like filled up and
shadows, man. Silhouettes. I think silhouettes and shadows. I mean, that's because that's another visual shorthand of something where the shadow and the silhouette is not itself a thing. But it is representing a thing that is real, and that's kind of close, I think, to animation. I think
what just have a good horror mutation kind of thing.
What?
Batman, the clay is it Clayman?
Yeah. It's Clayface.
Clayface, yeah. When he started like molding into different people, morphing, yeah. And he can
it's clay. You can mold clay. That's fine. That's fine. I don't know why I need to be a jerk about it. I guess we're saying I don't know, be a dick about it.
I thought that was like really terrifying when I saw it. I can still watch it now and be like, oh, that's pretty creepy.
Yep.
I think that and a lot of like I think Akira had a lot of kind of things now that I feel like I can watch now that is kind of like unsettling. His guts kind of falling out of his stomach and stuff like that. Like, it has to be a certain way to kind of like. There has to be an eeriness to it, not just just violence for violence sake.
You got anything else to say about I was trying to think of a way to tie the two together, X-Men and Spider-Verse. I mean, aside from the fact that they're both Marvel properties, they're both comic book characters, and I think X-Men 97 is very successful in what it's doing, and I like I mean, man, the animated short, it looked like it could have been in the movie. It was very good looking. I mean, I don't even have anything to say about the animation. I think the visuals are very good. I think it had an opportunity to use more of the comic panel visual language because it was an animated short that like I would get very tired of in a movie. Mm-hmm. So I think I would like to see more animated shorts from the Spider-Verse, just because, I love that character. I love that world. I love the family. I love what they did with Miles, and especially in the latest one. I feel like he's really coming into his own as a character.
Yeah. If you stripped away all the superhero stuff, and it was just a story about him and his parents and his just like living in New York, I would totally just watch that.
It's some of my favorite stuff from the last movie. I mean, just go back and listen to our review. But I love that. I mean, my favorite sequence was the rooftop party. Of that previous movie. So I guess it's time to go on to Trailer Talk. We haven't done Trailer Talk in a while. I think we're going to go by this one pretty quickly. Trailer Talk is exactly what it sounds like. It's trailers that have come out since the last time that we haven't talked about. And just a little disclaimer, we are not talking about the movie. We are talking only about the trailer that we are seeing and our reactions to it, because it is important to talk about the way that movies are marketed. So let's go on to the first one, Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Yes. Now, before watching this, I'd never seen the short. I must have read the book when I was younger. I know the concept of it.
By the way, now that we are on to another segment, I think because we were doing we were doing.
I forgot about the.
Yeah, we were doing beer and whiskey, so now it's. Oh, yeah, there we go. What was it before? Larceny. We were doing larceny before. Now we're doing Narragansett. It's just a. It's just a nice
shot and beer special.
Exactly.
Continue. Because we definitely got to get more drunk for this talk.
I know. Oh my God, mine didn't open. Look at that.
Oh no.
Look at it. It definitely opened it, but it didn't like pierce the thing. You know how you do that with a Coke, and like now I'm a little worried that I'm gonna try to pill, and then the top is gonna
pop and then you
off.
Gotta try to push it with your finger, and then you cut your finger.
Oh, come on! God damn it! Shit! It's not. Oh no!
Oh no! You just got.
Didn't do it.
He ripped the what do you call that
tab,
thing?
The tab.
So now it's just.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh. God.
Now it's just kind of like a little hole that he has to sip on him.
This is. I feel like
you got a sippy cup.
I feel like I need a pen to like poke a hole at the bottom of it and just shotgun it. Let me see. I can't do it because there's not another hole on the other side.
Oh man.
What a fucking bummer. All right, I got my keys here. Let me try to like.
This happened to me with a keg once, and then I had to stab the top of the keg, and it squirted beer all over.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. Just got to punch it with your keys.
That's right.
That's
how men drink beer.
This is some barn party shit right here. I'm really showing my colors now. All right, cheers.
All right, cheers.
So,
Harold and the Purple
I was just going to say a trailer about it. Wait, can we just say Harold and the Purple Crayon was it's a book that I have as a child. It's a home. Mm-hmm. It's something that my I'm sure that my mom read to us. It is practically a baby in like onesie PJs.
Yeah.
Is walking around with a crayon. It's a bit of an existential crisis. I mean, if you really think about the story, it's like
they could only afford one crayon.
It's kind of like getting lost in your mind. Like there's no human characters. It's just Harold.
Yeah.
And he's going around. I think at one point he draws a police officer, like an adult, to help him.
He's like, arrest my mommy, but she's not watching me. I'm drawing all over the walls.
But that's the thing, is that he has to draw an adult. Like, it's not a real adult. It's someone he has to create. So he creates a whole bunch of things in this vast, open, blank page. And then
almost like
finally gets back to his bed.
Duck-a-muck kind of.
Sure, yeah, exactly. It's kind of, if you think about it too long, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
But in this one, Harold is played by adult Zachary Levi. Is that his name? Yeah. And he's in the real world, and he's got kind of an ensemble cast of characters, and he has this crayon that is working in the real world.
Yeah, it's just what I was thinking when I was watching.
Confused is what I'm saying.
When we were watching the short, I was like, obviously they made.
Cut my lip on this, by the way.
Oh my god! Obviously they made some of the Ghostbusters children.
Right.
So that we can get a younger
I just rewatched
to watch it.
I just rewatched Afterlife, by the way, and I liked it a lot better than I did when I saw it in the theater. I think I was really annoyed. I hated the Harold Ramis thing that they did at the end. Yeah. I hated it.
Should he have just been an orb? Like a glowing orb?
No, I actually think so I know we're getting off on a thing, but I will bring it back around, I'm sure. I guess spoilers for Afterlife, in case anyone cares. I don't think anyone does, but there's just a moment where she's using the little gun. Yeah. She's like, she's trying to trap the big bad. Yeah. And a ghost hand comes in and steadies her hand. And I thought, like, in the moment, I was like, oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Just leave it at that. And then it was like, and then you get like 5 more minutes of full on ghost Harold Ramis. And I was just like, this is too much. This is too much. Where you see his face, he's like looking at everyone. He has like a moment with Bill Murray, which like we all know how like tenuous that was, all the way up to his like deathbed. And it just felt like I don't know, it just felt gross. I just didn't like it. But I know that his daughter, I guess, was like happy about it. And so like, I can't say anything about it. It's just, as a viewer, I don't like resurrecting dead people, like dead actors. Mm-hmm. I understand if you are using the character, right? Egon. Yeah. I have a problem with the amount that they used Harold Ramis in his older... Like, they didn't use Harold Ramis as he was in the movies.
As if if he died.
They use Harold Ramis as an adult, as you might have seen him later in life. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. There was something that felt very off and kind of weird about that. I don't know. And I think it's just me. I think it's just a me thing. I just felt like kind of awkward about it. I think it's kind of, I haven't quite rectified how we deal with the fact that we can recreate people in digital form. And the fact that he's dead and you can make him do whatever you want. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think there was part of me that just felt a little gross, because if you did young Egon, we know that's young. We know that Harold Ramis didn't do that, right? Yeah. So it's kind of removed from Harold Ramis, right? Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to have it be older, you could have it over the shoulder. I really liked the idea of just kind of the hand coming in and guiding, and you never see him. She just like looks over her shoulder and she kind of like, her eye, she starts tearing up or something, and like everyone, and that's all you see.
Yeah.
All you see is the hand helping. Like, I thought that could have been really beautiful. I don't know. There's just
also in that world, it seems like when you turn into a ghost, you look like a big blobby monster.
I mean, yeah. Didn't we talk recently about like Onion Head and how they did like they did John Belushi so wrong.
We honored him by making him a slobby.
I mean, I'm sure he would have loved it, but it's very fun. I mean, but honestly, I would have preferred that. I would have preferred if they turned Egon into like a monster, like a ghost monster who was actually very like the thing that ate all the metal. What if that was Egon? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if that was Egon, and then in the end he had a moment of like clarity or something like that, and then that metal chewing monster was like, oh my god, that was you, that was Egon, that was my grandfather. Like, that would have been kind of beautiful.
Remember
but no,
Casper
they have to,
when the father died and he came back as a ghost, but he was like, they didn't use like the father. Like they made a cartoony
I never
looking.
saw Casper.
Oh my lord!
I know.
All right,
let's talk about Harold. Are we trying to avoid talking about Harold and the Purple Crayon?
So Harold and the Purple Crayon. So what I was saying, what I was trying to get to was, obviously they made Ghostbusters children to get children to go see it.
Yes. Sorry,
why isn't it this way? Like, it would have made more sense if this was a child who drew. And like they just had the story be that.
Especially since, I mean, the comedy in the trailer was so childlike.
Yeah.
It was so childish. I just thought like, yeah, what's the point of having... I don't have anything against Zachary Levi. I just don't understand what the point of... I don't know. I maybe I do need to watch it.
It's a better animated movie, I think.
Yes, and they had animated sequences in, and I was like, oh my god, that would be great. So I did a very, very, very old review of Winnie the Pooh. The Winnie the Pooh that came out in, what was it? Was it 2011?
Oh, not Blood and Honey.
No, not Blood and Honey. It was like, I think it was like the last hand-drawn animated Disney release that actually got into the theaters. I really liked it. I thought it was so good. It was so good for preschool kids. It was I mean, I don't know. I don't usually like sharing personal things on things, but I think I wrote this in my review, so I can say it. It was my niece's first movie in theater. It was wonderful to be there for that. She sat through most of it. But I really enjoyed it. It had some really good moments. It had a who's on first, like
who's on first? Pooh?
Yeah. It had a whole thing with Rabbit and Piglet, which like are some of my two of my favorite characters in the I mean, I recently had this thing where I think, did I say this with you? Did I talk about this with you? It was kind of like this would be an interesting opening question. You know how you ask people in work when you're, okay, let's like tell, two truths and a lie was one that we did that was going around to like introduce yourself and so that people get to know you. Sometimes you say like, would you rather, which one would you rather do?
Oh, when you're doing like
yeah, when you're meeting people in an office.
Mine's never worked. Like I got fired.
Oh no, it was with you.
Fuck, marry, kill.
No, it was with you because someone asked you what was your favorite animated series or movie, and what did you say?
Oh, animated series. Listen,
say it.
All right, I said Cuphead.
Bullshit! You haven't even seen the whole series.
It was an intern seminar. I was trying to look cool.
Ridiculous.
Listen, I just
the fact that you didn't even think, the fact that Simpsons didn't come out of your mouth before your brain even worked.
Of course
is ridiculous.
It was. Listen, you got to understand. The first person they asked, she said, I absolutely hate animation.
Right.
I can't stand it.
Because people...
But I guess Toy Story.
This is... I talked about...
My whole Zoom call.
I talked about these people.
There's cartoons all over the wall.
On the last episode, I talked about these people. There are some people who just do not like animation. That's just the way that is.
You crying over a cartoon? Cartoons should be nominated for Best Picture? What are you talking about?
No. They should be nominated for Best Animated Picture.
Yeah, Best Cartoony for Babies.
Best Cartoony for Babies. Okay, so this is what I said. This should be a thing. If you, which character from Winnie the Pooh do you think you are, and which one do you think people would say you are? I think that's a great question.
I'm gonna say Winnie the Pooh.
Wait, for both?
For me.
You think you're Winnie the Pooh? I'm saying it's two questions.
Yeah.
Which one do you think you are, and which one do you think people think you are?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I would say both. You know, I'm definitely not Tigger. I have no energy.
I think I
could be a little Eeyore.
I feel like I used to be Tigger. I think people used to think that I was Tigger.
Mm.
But I think people now see me as Rabbit.
Oh, yes. I mean, I was saying, you better say Rabbit.
I think people see me as Rabbit. That's not how I see myself.
I mean, I'm definitely Winnie the Pooh getting stuck in
But Winnie the Pooh is selfish. Winnie the Pooh gets himself in like all sorts of like he's kind of I think we all kind of want to be Piglet, but I don't think
the deer.
I don't think anyone is. I think people feel like they're Piglet because you feel your feelings, right? You feel like, oh, I'm, whatever. I do feel. I'll be honest. I feel Rabbit sometimes, but I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm more Owl. And I feel like some people might see me as Owl, bit of a know-it-all. Like Rabbit is kind of like, oh, why can't everyone just do the right thing at the right time? Like, why can't, he's a little bit more like you're doing things wrong. Owl is a bit more like, a bit more of a know-it-all. And I feel like that sometimes. Internally, I feel very Tigger. But I guess now in my life, I'd like to think of myself as Kanga.
That's the mom?
That's the
kangaroo?
mom of Roo, yeah.
Oh, Roo. Okay, yeah.
I think in my mind, in my head, the way I feel is I'm very protective of people. I'm very, this is the way internally that I feel. I think it comes out like Rabbit. I think it comes out like Rabbit or Owl. Anyway, I thought that was I'm curious.
That is a very,
What do you think, audience?
I do think, that's a good question.
It's such a lame thing to say to an audience, like to try to
put down in the comments.
To try to get people to comment. You don't have to comment. You know what? I know you don't care. I know you're listening to this right now, and you're like, you know what? All I care about is to listen to this. I'm barely listening at this moment. I'm doing something else. Maybe I'm driving. Maybe I'm cleaning.
Which X-Men are we?
Maybe I'm walking in the morning to go get some coffee. Who knows?
Our friend Jen, she listens to us while she's like closing up shop.
Sure, wrapping up. Yeah, wrapping up.
I just picture mostly people animating, working on stuff, and having us on it.
That's what I
and calling me an
was thinking, but I'm kind of wondering if that's real. I think people do that when they go back and they just find us for the first time and they start downloading all the episodes and they just like listen to us in a row, which I have to say, listen, I have to say, if you are listening to us now in episode 200, whatever this is, I am so sorry. I am so sorry for the early episodes. And the thing is, I say that, but I get people telling me all the time, some of their favorite episodes are from the first, I think there's a rawness to them that they like. If this isn't raw, I don't know what, I mean, we're barely prepared, but I think there's a rawness that people like about him, but I feel I went back and I listened to a couple episodes. I just couldn't do it.
I can't do it.
It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing because I listen to it. I'm trying to do my best impression of like what a podcast host is supposed to do. I'm trying to like keep the thing running between like you and Pat. Like I'm trying to like keep things runing.
I know I'm known to derail a show or two, but
it's not just you, man. I was running with two of you.
Yeah, me and Pat together were like gremlins, just trying to bring your plane down.
It was tough. It was a bit tough. I feel like we talked about this during the 3-hour anniversary podcast or whatever, which, by the way, I put together and I edited. I never actually listened to that thing like all together. I just tried to edit it so that it sounded a little more coherent than it was when it was live. But I can't listen to some episodes.
Maybe that could be an episode. We both listen together.
We go back and we listen to some things. I don't know. There's going to be some things that, like, listen, I've done a lot of growing over the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that anyone. It's one thing that I've learned about doing a podcast is hearing yourself. I think the motivation, I think the internal, compass is always there of like the things that you want to do and the things that you feel and whatever. The way it comes out, if I can bring it back to Winnie the Pooh, the way it comes out might be.
The way the Pooh comes out?
It might be different. Yes, the way the Winnie the Pooh comes out. Comes out different.
Well, listen, much like Harold, he creates his own world.
We don't need to talk about honest to God. You know what? I'm just saying we don't need to talk about this. I'm just saying the animated stuff that they did looked great.
Looked cool.
It looked cool. It looks like a very childish show. I don't know why it needs to be a full grown man. It feels strange if you're going to, because
this is the movie.
It's a preschool thing. Why would you not make it for preschool? And that's why I brought up Winnie the Pooh, because Winnie the Pooh was a preschool animated movie, and I think the reason why they're not doing it is because preschool movies don't do well. Yeah, I think that's why.
And I get what they're trying to do. He draws things, and it kind of like creates a disaster, because there was moments like that in the book. And
remind me about a VR thing that I want to say.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're gonna talk about. But he draws the helicopter in the store, and it kind of goes crazy, much like in the book where he almost drowned himself.
Not impressed.
I want to see Harold and Kumar and the Purple Crayon, and they get stoned, and they just draw more White Castle burgers.
That would be actually really good. That is a amazing animated short. That is an amazing animated short. You should absolutely.
Listen, we got Alpha Owl.
Yeah.
We got Harold and Kumar.
No, you should. It's Alpha. Is
draw
yeah.
Purple Castle.
Yes. Yep. Harold and Kumar. Yep. Harold and Kumar and the Purple Castle. Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to make this now.
Yeah.
Listen, let's just We're in a whole segment. We're not talking. I'm sorry. We're derailed. I don't even care.
All right, I will say about this movie.
Oh, I was going to move on to the next one. Okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you know what? No. Because the next one is going to kind of tag on to
lasagna.
Lasagna chat.
Yeah, for fans of the podcast, you know what we're saying. Garfield. Yes. I didn't even know that the trailer was out. You told me it was out.
That was the second trailer.
Okay. All right. We saw it. I'm personally going to say, I'm just going to say my review, and this is kind of a one and done. Garfield should have a deep voice. He should be Eeyore-like, right? He should be not a Chris Pratt voice.
Yeah.
That is more childish. John, in one clip, it seemed like he was younger. I don't have any problem with the story. I actually think the story's fine. And I think it would be funny to have a very lazy, fat cat be involved in all these adventures. I mean, remember when we watched Big Hero 6 and his battery was low and he was running, but he wasn't really running. It was like kind of like do that with Garfield and have moments where they need to fit through something, but he can't fit through something.
Yeah.
Like all sorts of, and have him have him almost solve problems through him being lazy.
Yeah.
And I saw some of the food that they had on there. Some of it looks pretty good. It's not good enough for me. I need it.
Send it back.
Listen, if they're going to have lasagna, I need that to be the cheesy. I need that to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pulling cheese off of a slice off of cheese pizza. I really want to order pizza now. I need
the pizza in the Goofy movie.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I need that kind of food thing. They had some pasta in there. No, you need to make it look amazing. And maybe I'm probably going to watch it. I'm fine with the way that it looks. I mean, visually, I think it looks, it's
I think it's all right.
It's Peanut movie adjacent.
Yeah, but I wish that they kind of stuck with the designs. I hate when they have like Odie has blue eyes.
Right.
And I wish they just do regular black pupils.
Right.
And how about, so I pitched this before. I think I tweeted about it. I think I mentioned it to people, but I don't know if I ever mentioned it to you. Jim Gaffigan as the voice of Garfield.
That's perfect.
That would have been so perfect.
It'd be fun. That is really perfect.
Do you think Bill Murray was, the whole story that Bill Murray accidentally signed up for Garfield, right?
I don't know that story.
Oh my God. He thought it was oh my God. Wait, I feel like I have to look it up though. So he thought the director was one of the Coen brothers, I think.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't, so he just thought it was that. So he was just like, oh, okay, I'm going to sign up for it. And then it ended up being not one of the Coen brothers doing it. But why would the Coen brothers do?
So actually, if I could say, the director of this is Mark Dindal, who directed 3 animated films: Cats Don't Dance, The Emperor's New Groove, and Chicken Little.
Right.
I actually didn't hate Chicken Little. I actually enjoyed
Except
it.
for his father being a piece of shit, but
no, that's Lindell. That's
Mike Lindell?
Yeah. No, Mark Dindal is his name. You were making a Mike Lindell joke.
No,
right?
I promise you. I'm talking about Chicken Little. The whole story. Yeah. Chicken shit.
Listen.
Anyway, listen.
I think we're good, right?
What was the percentage in that alcohol?
It was 62.
You can slowly hear us.
It was 62.1%.
It's a good thing.
It's 124.2%.
I think we mentally prepared ourselves for this, so we saved Harold, the Purple Crayon, and Garfield for last. Because if we were trying to talk about X-Men and Spider-Verse now, we would have just been like...
I think the thing is Harold, the Purple Crayon, and Garfield. Can I just say, the thread that I feel between the two... I like the look of Garfield, by the way. The thread that I feel between the two of these is... I feel like... I feel like they're... In my mind, they're a bit miscast for what they are. Mm-hmm. And they are two stories that could really benefit from... having a different focus for the audience. I feel like Garfield is aiming too low. Mm-hmm. I feel like a Garfield movie would do very, very well with the millennials.
Yeah, Garfield.
I feel if Garfield, his character, aim that stuff for us, man. Mm-hmm. You've seen the clips on TikTok of people sharing all of the stuff that Winnie the Pooh says in the Christopher Robin kind of whatever the movie that came out.
Oh, with the guy from Star Wars,
Ewan McGregor. Yes, the guy from Train Spotting.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah. Garfield is to Winnie the Pooh as Chris Farley is to John Belushi. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, where it's like the logical conclusion or the next logical step of,
I kid you not. This was a catchphrase that I don't know if he said it many times, but Garfield at one point said in the animated series, they should be dragged out in the street and shot. Like, he said that in the cartoon. And years later, I was just like, oh my God, Garfield said someone should be dragged out into the street and shot. And we need more of that.
That's a perfect transition to
AI watch.
It's stupid.
She's been living in an world.
This is Rob's idea. Rob came up with the AI watch thing. It's his idea. Listen, there is a whole show, right? A whole Chinese show in AI, right?
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you talk about it?
It's a whole series based on old Chinese poems.
Yep.
And they used AI to make it. I think it looks. I mean, yeah, it's not great, but it's pretty, like, I don't know whether they have people doing touch-ups on it or anything, but a lot of it looks tweened. A lot of it looks, it doesn't look necessarily polished, but it's very like children's television kind of in a way where it's like storybook looking, not really like if this was a short film or something like that from someone. The designs look pretty basic. But for AI, it's kind of impressive.
It says that there's 26 7-minute episodes.
I didn't feel threatened watching.
Okay.
Because normally I can't even animate that kind of stuff anyway, that style.
So I was going to say ChatGPT, but it's not ChatGPT. It's CMG Media GPT. Provides animation producers with a low-cost and efficient concept design tool for character and scene designs. Artificial intelligence was used in every stage of development. This is a care of Cartoon Brew. Development and production process from design to video generation and post-production. Its model can drastically cut down on production time and cost of animation production. In a WeChat post, the deputy head of publicity department of the Chinese Communist Party and head of China Media Group, Shen Haizhan, collaborated on the broadcaster's intentions to fully embrace artificial intelligence. Okay, listen. I know you thought that this was impressive.
Yeah.
I am not impressed. I think it looks exactly the way that I thought that it was going to look. It's we were talking before the record. My puppy's going crazy. Before the record, that it's like when you see commercials. Like really bad animated commercials.
Yeah.
This is where I think AI is going to be. It's going to be in the places that are the lowest hanging fruit.
Used car sales, like
yes, it's going to be Crazy Mike's, auto sale, whatever.
Yeah.
I made some money in some hard times through some jobs that could easily be done through AI now. And I know that there were some explainer videos that I did for a doctor's group, right? That got me pretty consistent work for a little bit that I'm sure they could just, get someone to say, hey, use AI to do this thing, type in, get a prompt person, right?
Yeah.
So I think that those things are going to go away, which is not nothing, because especially when you're talking about people who did not go to art school, it can be harder to break into the industry if you don't have those really low-hanging fruit jobs.
Yeah.
I think people are always worried about it taking over. Oh, it's gonna. What was the last thing? Oh, we talked about Sora, and it's like, oh, it looks like a Pixar character. It's like Pixar is not okay. First of all, the $250,000 budget for an animated feature is probably going to go away.
Yeah,
but that's not because of AI. That's because of a lot of reasons. And what I'm trying to tell people, and I'm trying to get them to see, is that AI is going to weasel its little head into our world. It's going to. It's already happening, and it's someone that you don't want sitting at your lunch table. It's going to change the dynamic. It's going to be really annoying, and it's going to make people squeeze together. You're going to have less elbow room. I don't think it is going to come for your jobs in the way that you think it's going to.
It's going to be like, look at the whole Wonka thing that we talked about last time, using AI for their like flyers and stuff. And yeah, there is like work there, but it's going to weed out when you're, you working with someone who just thinks it's ridiculous that you are, charging something that you're working hard on. They're going to just do like, AI is going to be like, the porn industry of animation.
Okay.
There's acting in it. There's a story, but you know it's porn. Anyway,
I had to let my dog out to.
you let the dog out. It was you the whole time.
Who?
So the AI series. Did it say how many episodes? You said how many episodes came out, right?
I did. I think it was 26 7-minute episodes. Yeah.
Now, was there a I didn't read anything about was there a difference between hours between AI and human workers?
They didn't go into that,
but produces.
So this is, I mean, obviously the AI discussion is always money. The biggest expense on a production is salary.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I do think AI is probably going to hit some industries very, very hard. There are a lot of subfields that are in animation. There might be some shuffling there in the subfields, but in overall proficiency and competency, rigging might be something where there might be more robust auto rigs.
Yeah.
There's auto rigs now, and I really don't know any let's say reputable production that uses auto rigs. Yeah. I think it does if you don't have a rigging department and your animation department needs to rig something, then you have like an auto rig where you're just using something out of the box.
Yeah. It still feels very soulless.
Yeah.
I feel like when you see something, obviously you can recreate stop motion. And
right.
You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. They made that look like stop motion, but it was done in Blender. And that it is very impressive. But when you actually see actual stop motion, there is like this, there is a thing to it.
Yeah.
There's a craft to it. So I think with AI, hopefully it's geared towards more of like being used as a tool and more of something that will kind of benefit. And obviously, it's not going to be, there's going to be some casualties of war with that, but there's also something like when I use,
dark.
Yeah, obviously I'm talking as an executive here. I remember seeing when Photoshop had the AI kind of generator stuff where you can just circle over something and remove a person from a photo. I was just like, oh no, this is getting too easy. And I use it now whenever I need to kind of like remove something quickly we got to have something done by a certain time.
That's what I think it's going to
saves a lot of time doing stuff.
There's a lot of jokes about pilots, your autopilot. Is you just push a button and it just flies it for you. I think that's true for like the bulk of like the middle of it, but you need a pilot to take off and to land, and you need a pilot for anything that goes wrong, right? If anything is like, oh, we're kind of like running into a bad area here, I'm gonna take the stick kind of thing. But autopilot can help keep a plane on a trajectory. What?
Sorry, I was just thinking of airplane.
Yes, exactly.
The inflatable pilot.
I was also thinking about a very particular moment in airplane. I think it's kind of like that. I think it's there's this is what I keep saying. I think you're going in let's say 10 years. I think you're not going to be able to use a program that doesn't have AI.
Yeah.
Some AI thing in it. And what also everyone's calling things AI, not everything is AI.
Yeah.
But I think that there is going to be some kind of machine learning facet to all the major programs that are out there that are going to be used in a studio. And I do think that most people are probably going to be in a situation where they're probably going to have to use it in some way. It really depends on what the unions do with the negotiation. But that also, whatever guardrails the union puts up, obviously there are non-union productions. And so they would be using it in different ways. And that's the thing that actually kind of worries me maybe a little more. But still, there's going to be people that are just going to be afraid of AI like forever until... I don't know, decades go by and then they realize that, I guess we're kind of in a holding pattern of, this is another. I know people are worried about calling it another tool. I personally, the thing is, I keep saying this, but I have not used it. Literally the only thing that I have used AI for, aside from the deep fake that I did for tuning out the news, I have used AI to expand in Photoshop, expand the canvas thing.
Yeah.
I've used it to expand the canvas of a because I did for my Halloween party. I did a movie poster.
Yeah.
And then when we did the Evite, it needed to be a square. And I think I said this before.
Yeah.
And so I expanded it out so that it could fit the square. Because I was like, I'm not going to spend all this time doing this thing. It wasn't for money. It was for, a personal thing. I think a lot of it is going to be that. The real fear that I have is about people not being able to tell that AI is AI. But that has been something with like basic video editing as well. Is people not being able to tell that a video has been. There is. I'm gonna give an example. As this comes up, maybe a few times a year, I see it come up. There is a video of a giant screen that is over a bar with a bunch of people watching something on TV. It's probably the World Cup or something like that.
Yeah,
and people always replace what is on that screen, and they go crazy. They like cheer and everything. People always replace what's on that screen, and every single time it happens, people in the comments are like, "I can't believe they're reacting this way to this thing." It's like, no, it's a
people
joke.
use that on like live streams, and they'll put the person on there, and they assume like, "Oh my God, they believe it."
It's crazy to me. I think I think and I hope we are going to enter an age where people are a little bit more proficient in understanding. Yeah. And I don't know if I said this on the show, but I know I said this in person. I think it's going to be one of those cases where like you talk to any person on the street now is going to watch something and be like, oh, that's CG. Or they'd be like, oh, that's bad CG. When objectively, it's great computer-generated images, especially considering what was done in like the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. Like you brought up Spawn. Spawn, I remember being like an amazing thing with its cape, doing, transforming into whatever it was going to transform into. And it was just like this big thing. And the chains and everything. It was like, they made this big deal about it. Which I think is why I brought up HBO, because I remember seeing an HBO, it was like making of kind of thing for Spawn. I don't know if anyone can hear, but my puppy is going to town on that chew that is in her crate right now.
Yeah, that's not me making that sound.
No. I don't imagine anyone can hear that, but I'm curious. But what I was going to say is I feel like we are, because CG comes out and you see it in like video games. I mean, I remember I saw Prince of Persia. Mm-hmm. Like when I was a kid, I was like, nothing is going to be. Oh my God, nothing is going to be more realistic than this. Like this is like watching a movie, and I mean, there are some video games now that are like crazy good.
Oh,
especially with the cutscenes.
I remember seeing the cutaway scenes. Is that the phrase? The cutaway scenes for video games?
It's just cutscenes.
Cutscenes.
Cutaway scenes.
Yeah, when Family Guy does a cutaway scene, the cutscenes always. I was like, wow! Imagine if they were able to make the game look like this,
right?
Instead, now they do. I was saying like Facebook is where a prime example of people who are fooled by very obvious this like. Kid made a gorilla out of soda bottles, and it's so AI, and my uncle shares it all the time. I have an aunt who goes amen and shares a picture of a Jesus made out of sand that is so detailed, and the text above it says, "I made this with my own hands," and she shares it and goes amen, like. Look at this amazing job. Your Shrimp Jesus. Have you seen Shrimp Jesus?
No. I don't need to describe it. You just detailed what I think is the biggest threat of AI images.
Boomers.
But not just boomers. I mean, there's a lot of millennials who are sharing stuff like that. And I see a lot of Gen Z kids that are also sharing things that are very clearly AI, but for some reason they believe a lot of the stuff that I see on TikTok. There was one video that I saw recently. Someone showed it to me and was like, "Oh, this is amazing." It looked like paper mache character that was being morphed to different things. Now I know that this person is an artist who is like getting into AI things, but it's definitely AI. There are some telltale signs of AI that I feel like are pretty obvious right now that, maybe people will kind of get to after a while. I know we're kind of skirting around the issue because obviously this was a series, 7-minute episodes, 26 7-minute episodes that were created. Think about the reason it was created, the poetry, the story. It kind of is like the animation was not animation. The animation was like a step up from stuff that you might see in Reading Rainbow, where they would have like.
There was a shot where they were standing, I guess, on a field, and like their clothing was moving,
right?
And it kind of looked like someone used a puppet pin,
right,
to move it around.
And you're probably going to have people that are going to be manipulating and altering in some way. I think that you're going to have AI being used a lot in concept art. Do I think that concept art is going to go away? Do I think that you're not going to have artists do concept art? No. I think it is going to be a communication tool between writers and producers and artists. And this is where I have said, I've brought up the temp music a lot, where like a director and an editor will use temp music. And the fear is that they get so married to the temp music, they just want you to do the temp music.
Yeah.
Right. But they want you to write it in your own way. So it's not, copyright infringement or they have to buy it. And that's a legitimate. The thing is, it's not taking your job, but it's definitely taking a part of the joy that you have away from that job, which is a very real thing. I just feel like when we're talking about things, you're talking about like monetary stuff. You're talking about like, I guess I better, move on to a different career or whatever. I feel like you'll be able to keep it, but there might be in some jobs, the flavor might be different because AI is coming in and now it's being, that's why I say it's like someone, elbowing their way into your lunch table. You don't want them there, but they're there, and you gotta make it work, and you gotta just kind of move on to. I'm sure there were people that were very upset when they started using the cap system or something like that, at Disney, with the, I think we mentioned about, ink and paint department being just decimated.
Yeah.
Probably more than decimated. I don't even know the numbers. But there's trade-offs with everything, where you're not focusing on one thing, you can focus on something else. And focus also tends to be money as well. You pay it in different ways. When I was talking about AI and when I was talking about the business stuff last episode, I feel like this is a real problem with whenever you talk about business stuff, is that it makes you sound like a businessman. It makes you sound like you're being an apologist for. Nobody told me this. There wasn't any comments or anything, but I listened back to the episode and I was like, oh man, I kind of don't like, this is what I think about when stuff like this comes up. I think about the people that are making the decisions that are going to hire me, that are going to pay me things, pay me doubloons to do work. What are they thinking? That's what I'm trying. What are they thinking? Where's the industry going? What is happening? I guess that's where the brain goes. My brain goes. And with AI, the other thing was kind of, it was just an acknowledgement of you can't stop it. You can't stop it. And if we can stop it here, for a little bit, okay, but that's not going to stop it elsewhere. That's not going to stop it internationally. But we are a huge exporter of entertainment, one of the biggest, if not the biggest. And I made that analogy of smoking, right? If we say you can't show people smoking in your movies, then people who are making movies overseas who want to display it here, they are going to go, you know what, maybe it's better if we just take that smoking scene out of this so that we can show it in the United States. And so that might be AI. It might be like if we put in restrictions in some way. It's not going to be for displaying stuff, but I'm just saying putting in restrictions for AI is not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, obviously it could evolve into like... It's funny because I always think about when we were.
I think you want to put speed bumps is where I was going. Yeah, you want to put speed bumps so that it slows down, so that you're not. AI, given its chance, is going to be auto-driving Tesla that's going to run over your kids.
Yeah,
like you want to put speed bumps. And you want to put signs up, and you want to put everything up that is going to prevent AI from doing its thing, run amok. Because if there's one thing that we can't trust, it's tech dudes, tech bros that are coming in and just disrupting shit. Because I fucking hate them sticking their head in. Stop messing with every industry. It's like, is there an industry that we haven't touched yet? Maybe we should fuck with this one now. Like that seems to be what they're doing. They always do that, and they're doing it with entertainment again. And listen, I don't hate Netflix. I use Netflix literally every day. I use Netflix when it came out. I had the CD, DVD, whatever thing that you want to call it, the Wii disc.
Oh wow!
To use Netflix when it first came out. Before they even had any streaming thing, I
but do you
liked
chill?
Netflix. I do chill, but I liked Netflix, and I like Netflix, and we have talked very favorably of what Netflix has done with animation. There was a time where they were greenlighting all sorts of. They were spending so much money on animation, and I think that gets overlooked. Yeah. I think it gets overlooked because of the amount of stuff that's being canceled now, which it's not good. It's not good, and we should be saying it's not good. But you also have to recognize that. Sometimes it's good. You have to recognize when things are positive and when things are negative. And the most important thing is like, yeah, maybe we should just slow it down because left unchecked, tech shit goes wild. So put in your brakes and, whatever you can. I just ultimately, I think with people fighting the good fight, I think ultimately we are not going to be in a situation where it is going to take entire careers outside of people, talking about very, very, very specific careers. I mean, as long as you can say I'm an illustrator, you can work in some other areas of illustration. Yeah, concept art may take a hit. As we said, modeling for 3D artists may take a hit. There's maybe some things that take a hit that you can shift around, but it is not the same as coal miners having to learn solar panels, that whole thing. It's going to be very close in your field is I guess what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying we can't use birds anymore to fly them in the caves to make sure
what's funny? People still use carrier pigeons.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People still use. I mean, some nefarious reasons, but but carrier pigeons are a real thing, and also the technique of training carrier pigeons has turned into carrier pigeon racing. I actually, one of my childhood friends, his dad raced pigeons. I was a child. I absorbed
what my dad had.
Whatever it was.
He had racist pigeons.
Oh no,
they were not great.
Oh no, don't say what they said. They wouldn't go to some neighborhoods and said,
"Oh no, I'm not flying there.
I'm not flying there."
What I was gonna say is, what's gonna be annoying is we always, as animators, we had the argument of like, it's gonna take a while. It's not like I can push an animation button.
Right, yeah.
And now people are going to be like, yeah?
I don't think it's going to be. It's not
It'll
animation.
never be that impressive.
let's talk Late Night at the Devil. Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, yeah.
We just watched that movie, right? I didn't even know this. You actually sent me, who is like apparently all over the internet because like you sent me something.
Yeah,
I don't really.
I'm just
You're Mr. Internet.
I'm Ralph wrecking it.
Yeah, wrecking the internet. So you're the sequel.
Yeah.
Breaks the internet.
Oh yeah,
right?
breaking it.
So you're
Oh yeah, I remember us being annoyed by that.
Yeah.
Why didn't they say
Why didn't you wreck it?
Yeah.
And so you sent me the thing that there were 3, right?
There were 3 title cards.
Three title cards, 3 AI images that were created for the movie.
Yeah.
There were title cards that were on their way out or going into a segment in the. So the show or the movie is there's a late night show, late night talk show, and most of the stuff you're seeing is through the lens of the camera that is filming the late night show. But then they go on commercial break, and in the commercial break, there's a black and white kind of like behind the scenes footage. They're kind of playing with the behind the scenes, or like a found footage type of thing. So to bridge the gap between those two things, it kind of has those images of like we'll be right back.
Conan
or like
did it a lot.
Technical,
where he had just an image of something, maybe an exterior shot of New York City or something. But this was a Halloween episode of that show, so they used a skeleton kind of dancing around like pumpkins. And
I think there was a bat in there. Yeah, something like that. And you sent me this thing, and it was people being very upset because there were AI. There were people saying, "I was really excited for this movie, but now I can't watch it." Or don't watch. Somebody said, "Don't watch the movie, and go see another movie and sneak into the theater to see this movie, so you won't spend money on this movie." I'm just gonna say I heard the explanation. It's not the most elegant explanation. I don't know if they were coached at all or if they even have. They're indie filmmakers. I don't know if they have someone to coach them on how to answer questions like this. But the way he answered it was like, we thought we were being, at the time that we made the movie and we were putting things out, we thought we were being resourceful indie filmmakers. We didn't realize that we were, doing something that was going to be, and a lot of the argument is like, okay, fine, but now that it's been released, why didn't you replace it with some art that was done and paid for by people? I think if you're going after indie filmmakers, I think you're going after the wrong people. I understand the idea. I do, because you told me that one of the things that people were upset about was that they should know better because they are indie filmmakers, and so they should know the plight of artists. And that it's almost like it's expected more of you, because you're an indie filmmaker, to not use this stuff.
You expect it more from a big corporation that's just kind of like...
I personally think you should be going after big corporations
that use it.
That use AI. You should not be going after indie filmmakers for using AI. Number one, not every... And I always talk about the bubble. Yes, this is an important aspect of our bubble, right? It's impacting our careers. It's impacting things. That's important. But boycotting a movie... You're more likely to get an independent filmmaker on your side if you say, love the movie, love what you did. It didn't sit well with me that you used AI. Here's where, we're coming from on this stuff. There are so many junkets. There's so many things. You could probably get those guys on a podcast. I'm not overblowing our podcast at all. I might be able to get these guys on the podcast if I pushed it. I'm not going to push it because I have other things to do. And also, to be honest, I actually don't really know what I would ask outside of this. And I don't want to put them through the same thing. But the thing is, like, indie filmmakers make the rounds in this way. They go on radio stations. They go, all sorts of things. you could really approach them in a way like this. Telling someone to sneak in, so are you sneaking into the theater, or are you paying money to another movie? If you're paying money to a corporate movie,
go see that big Disney movie,
and then sneaking into an independent movie just because they use 3 instances of AI generated images, you are missing the forest for the trees. You're going after the wrong people for kind of the right reasons. Like, I understand why you're doing it, but it didn't feel like what they were doing was malicious. It felt like they were doing something low budget. They needed something to bridge the gap between these scenes, and they have a very limited crew. I actually didn't know if they had any illustrator on there or whatever. They probably could have asked someone to do something that was part of the set. Maybe it was like, oh, can anyone draw here or whatever? They probably did the same thing as exactly what I said. They used temp music in the editing, and they're like, we love this temp music. We're going to see how much does it cost to use this
it
temp
could have
music.
been a placeholder.
It was a placeholder probably, and they used it.
Yeah.
And now that it's been released, and they're like, well, you should have changed it. I don't know what goes with distribution and all that sort of stuff. It just bums me out when we eat. I feel simpatico with indie filmmakers. That's why I love watching low budget horror movies and low budget sci-fi movies and stuff like that, because that is a passionate project by people who are trying their best to do something. Sometimes it comes out great. Sometimes it comes out laughable, but you still get the passion from it. It's like watching your friends do something that's okay, this is not good, but God damn, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I had my issues with Late Night with the Devil. I wanted some other things, some more things, but it was so fun, and it was so inventive, and it was so interesting to see them make. And it just feels like, don't go after fellow artists in that same way.
Yeah.
What you're worried about is bigger companies using this stuff. And I do think the Chinese series that's using it in this way, it's like, we're using all AI. They're using it as almost a promotional thing. We're just doing this so that people will go, oh my God, they created it with all AI. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
Is it good? No, it's not good. You think it's impressive. I still don't think it's impressive. But do I think that this thing is going to be... I think AI is going to be used in preschool stuff. I think, baby geniuses or
YouTube
baby
channels,
Einstein stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff.
YouTube children channels.
Yes, exactly. That kind of thing. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, just very much just something that no one's going to really pay any mind to.
Well, some people do, because that's some people's jobs. Mm-hmm. But just as I used to do banner ads, and I don't do banner ads anymore because banner ads are not super popular, this is another phase of things. You could say you made your money. I made my entire living on banner ads for a few years. And then I moved over to explainer videos, and there was, other things. And then there was music videos and games and stuff like that. It all kind of changed in the freelance aspect. And I feel like this is another one of those things you need to look at, okay, this might be going away from me now. I need to pivot to something else. And it's going to suck. It's going to be annoying, but it's not abnormal. This is pretty normal. And
I
think
have a whole
overall
full of fidget spinners that I was...
I think overall it's going to be something that is going to end up being very normal, very I know that normal is a weighted word, but I think it's going to be something that's going to be okay, yeah, we use AI for this, or we use AI for this, or something. But once the luster kind of goes away, it's really just going to be a tool that's going to be part of the whole process. Some people are going to use it 100%. Your Crazy Mike's used auto sale kind of thing. Local library that wants to, put some visuals to
if
someone
anything,
that they got to come in and read, do a dramatic reading of something, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to calm people down internally in their brain, but not stop them from fighting the good fight, to try to put barriers on the worst implications of AI in union negotiations, because I think that is incredibly important.
I think you should worry about it more of it being pushed towards like a fake news reporter.
These are big things. Yes,
the president
of the United States saying something.
Yeah.
Because actually, it got me thinking. Actually, today with the earthquake, what if someone uploaded something to, like, I don't know, TikTok or Twitter or X or whatever the fuck they're calling it, that was a video of the president declaring some sort of state of emergency and saying, protect yourself from, I don't know, like calling like a zombie apocalypse or something, during the eclipse. I don't know, something that some people might buy into. You could do real damage with something like that. For us, I think for putting up blockers, credits are a big deal. Especially anything that deserves awards, anything that earns awards, like character design, storyboards, anything like that, concept art. You're going to want to make it very explicitly clear when AI is used, and that AI is not to be used for. It's been a while since that. No, actually, it hasn't been a while since that happened. It happened in the last episode, and we just recorded a new episode. That's what happened last time. This time, I think I was just talking about. The next
trying to silence
AI,
us.
Yeah, it was the next union thing, like the guardrails he put in. I think it's important to put guardrails in. What I was trying to say when it all went kaput was I was making an analogy to losing weight, which I thought actually worked out pretty well.
Oh, that was all cut.
That was all. I think that was all cut out. I think my whole rant about losing weight. I think that was all cut out. So I think the thing was, it was in the beginning, like when you start going on a diet, it's all like water and poop weight.
Yeah.
And you lose like 5-10 pounds, whatever. And then, after diligent work, it's like months later, you will have lost a bunch of weight, very consistently. But then you hit a plateau. And to get past that plateau, you have to trick your body in all sorts of ways, and you have to work out harder. You have to change your diet. You have to do all sorts of things. And it just, to get down to the point where you want to have abs, you have to even go to a crazier level. And what I was trying to say is where we are with DALL-E and, stuff early on, that was water and poop weight. And then where we are now is that's your diet and exercise. A lot of work has gone into it. But I don't think that we're going to make the dieting analogy is a little thin.
Yeah.
Because you actually can make very significant changes with it. But I think with tech, what people have to understand is the way that tech works is that there is a some new bit of tech comes out, and maybe a company or two or three start out making big headways in it. And that's your water poop weight kind of thing. It's like, oh, look how amazing this is. And then after that, other companies get in. Oh yeah, this is a new area of study. This is a new area of thing. It's always tech sticking its face into like, hey, industry that never wanted us here. What if we gave you that? Look at what we're doing. And then people who have money are like, oh wow, that's the future of this industry. And so they start giving money to these companies, and they start giving money, and then other people start giving money to side companies that come off. And I was describing it as like a shark that's like, going by, and these little fish kind of come in and like, they're just feeding on the teeth and the gills and everything. They're just feeding on the stuff that the shark has going on. They're like smaller companies. The whole goal of these smaller companies is to make some sort of wave so that the bigger companies can gobble them up. And the bigger companies, they probably want to make enough of a wave to even bigger companies gobble them up. Eventually, you're going to have something like Apple and Google and Microsoft like own all of these things. You know, Adobe is also doing their own AI stuff. They might have they bought smaller things. And so what I was saying is the 5-year rule for me is when things settle out. I don't know if that's entirely true, but that's kind of what I'm going off of. Right now, we're in the first couple of years. I think it's going to take a few years before it settles out to like, okay, all these companies have now been bought up and consolidated into like 3 companies, and that's it. And then it's going to take a few years after that before, since AI is being used in all sorts of programs and all sorts of productions, it's going to be another few years before these productions or a bunch of different productions have learned how they're going to use this new technology to their benefit. Yeah. And everything's going to settle out in a way where I kind of feel like the amount of people in the productions is going to remain about the same. Just because I feel like the amount of productions that we have now is not that dissimilar to, decades prior, maybe like 50 years, but the number of people is probably relatively similar. Technology increases, you figure out how to use it. In the short term, it may save some money and it may, cost some people some jobs in the short term, but those jobs kind of come back in a way. They might get retooled in a different way. I'm not saying it's good or comfortable, let's say. It's definitely a moment of upheaval. How appropriate on a day that we had an earthquake.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that earthquake.
Did you? Have we been talking that long?
It's definitely one of those things where, if you look at Jurassic Park and how detailed the T-Rex look, and we were so amazed by that. And then you have The Rock in The Mummy 2.
Mummy Returns, right?
Yeah.
Or Scorpion. Yeah.
And 3D has gotten very advanced, very nice, but you can still, you still kind of know that it's not.
It's interesting you bring up Jurassic Park because was it Phil Tippett was doing his Go Motion, the stop motion thing. He kind of has his own Oppenheimer moment of I'm become death. He has this thing where he's like looking at it and he goes, I think we just all became extinct, like talking about his career. Yeah. And now he pivoted into CG stuff. We just saw a trailer for Primevals. That was a CG. It was a stop motion animated live action hybrid movie that came out that was how many years in the making or something. And I guess they're using more stop motion in Beetlejuice to kind of get those feelings back. And obviously we had Marcel the Shell, which was it was stop motion that was using computer visual effects and things like that, but it was using stop motion.
Chicken Run came out recently. It is a new Wallace and Gromit coming out.
Oh, totally, exactly. Perfect examples. It doesn't kill the medium. Technology can fill the space of the need for that medium. Where stop motion was the way to do kind of things that looked like they could have lived alongside live action. Ed 209 and RoboCop. You have, because it's using real lights. It's using camera, filming a thing that actually exists. And they were like, this is the best way to do it outside of, real-time puppetry, like The Thing. Yeah. It's not hand-drawn animated stuff, which worked for things like the spirits in Raiders of the Lost Ark, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You have CG coming in that can do so many things. It just becomes a catch-all where, okay, now students are learning CG because it can do everything that these other mediums can do. Yeah. It just might not have the same feeling. It might not have the same, vibrancy. I think there's things that hand-drawn does, obviously easier and faster and better than CG does. Breaking the model, you could do that just by drawing something. Yeah. Breaking the model is a little hard in CG. It's fun. It looks silly. And stop motion has its own charms to it, especially given the way that it's animated straight ahead. It has the language of its motion is fascinating, and there is something that feels tangible. About it. Yeah, because it feels like you could actually reach.
Well, I know when I was younger, I was like, oh, obviously I didn't know how to make because back then it was like animated cells and flipping pages and
right.
Like there was a way
flipping
to make
and rolling.
Yeah, there was a way to make it animation, but I was like, I got really into stop motion because it just felt like something I can do because I couldn't do
because you have action figures, you have clay, you can move it and you can move it a little bit more, and you can.
So I think there will always be an interest in that.
Yes, and that's the point is I don't know any offhand. I'm sure I could probably think of some pieces of art or mediums that have kind of gone away.
Shadow puppets, but
music box creator. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to think.
What's that thing that spins? It's a
zoetrope.
Zoetrope.
I mean, that's kind of what we're doing now. But
a Nickelodeon.
I mean, sure, Nickelodeons. Do you think people know what a Nickelodeon is?
No, well, now they just think it's
the channel. Yeah.
Who hired awful people?
If you guys are young and you don't know what Nickelodeon is, just go. I mean, listen, Nickelodeons weren't technically in our time either, but I definitely had a couple Nickelodeons at the mall. We had a local mall. Just look it up. Anyway, I was saying
ours really kind of fades away.
Red Letter Media just did a thing where they did the best of the worst. They were it was a word processor, right? It was talking about a word processor, and they were describing the time between typewriter and computer, and there was like this 5-year span where there was a need for a word processing machine that was kind of like a computer. You could type it into like a DOS type of thing before people had computers that could just do it.
Yeah.
And I was recently talking about there was a type of phone. It was called a Skype phone that existed for a short period of time that you could sign into Skype, your Skype account on this phone. You would buy this phone.
Oh, just for Skype.
Just for Skype. You could use it internationally. You could use it as you traveled anywhere, as long as you had a Wi-Fi connection. That probably existed for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Because there's a very short amount of time where that becomes a necessary thing. I don't want to say that there are probably some facets of various artistic expressions that would fill that role that would be like, oh, this really only existed in a transition period from this technology into this technology. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
You mean like technology that kind of disappeared?
I guess the thing that it's like drawing characters with your mouse, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not really necessary anymore. We have Wacom tablets and even
we have beepers, and that's where it's like, hey,
like beepers were very necessary
find a
before.
phone
Like
to call me.
But those kinds of things. There are some facets of the field that are probably going to go in that direction. They're probably going to be no longer necessary because they're going to be kind of gobbled up into another, facet or feature. But it's not, I don't think it's going to change the overall arc of, it's not going to kill animation. It's not going to kill live action. What it's going to do is going to make social media a nightmare. But I think for 10 years, until people get pretty good at telling the difference between AI stuff and real video.
Yeah.
Because I think it's probably going to take that long. I think it's about that long before people could start to tell when things were CG and when they were real.
I don't know. People still think The Simpsons predicted Donald Trump's campaign.
That's not.
And now there's
that's not visual acuity. That is idiocy.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing. Yeah. That's a conspiracy theory type stuff. That's always going to be around.
But with AI, it's going to be even worse.
I'm trying to not be.
If you believe in AI,
did we bring up Chicken Little earlier?
Yeah,
like the movie, like the actual movie. Yeah.
And I said the father is a piece of shit.
Well, I don't want to sound. I'm trying to not be the sky is falling kind of thing. Like I feel gross every time a new AI thing comes out, which I think is why I haven't used it. I think it's going to be a little bit before I feel comfortable to really try to use it in any real capacity. Someone wanted me to make something for them personally, not like for money or whatever. And I thought that would be an opportunity because it was like a logo type of thing. And so I decided I'll use Midjourney, right? I typed in a thing. I did 4 or 5 versions of it. And then I sent those to the person and I was like, are any of these sticking out at you? You know, because I didn't want to spend I wasn't getting any money for it. I wasn't spending any time on it. It's like, does this like anything? And they went, oh yeah, this one. I was like, okay, what do you like about it? And they described what they liked about it. That allowed me to then make my own logo.
Yeah.
That's the only time that I
said, oh, these are great, thanks.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's probably pretty similar to how I would imagine AI is going to be used. I like very stable things. I don't like updating things. When I use a new program, I learn it very deeply and I become obsessively knowledgeable about it. But I'm not always the first one to jump on it. I'm just trying to come at it from my perspective of like, I'm not trying to say wait and see exactly. Just given everything that we know about the way that tech works, I feel like where we're going is to a place where we kind of know it's going to be very painful for some people. But if you can hold on, I think we're looking at a 5-10 year thing. If you can hold on for 5 years, I think you'll be good. And then if you can hold on for another 5 years after that, I think you'll be golden.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're going.
Yeah.
It's just, do you want to stick around for the dust to settle?
Yeah. I don't think you are. Yeah. You're not.
I'm in too deep. I don't have a choice. Like I'm not changing careers at 41.
No, I don't think there's anything else I could do.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
you got to start your ALF podcast.
Yeah. Talk about, it's just only that one
just
episode.
Talk about beards.
It's just that one ALF episode where it's that blooper where he says things that...
And that'll do it for this episode of the Rubber Animation Podcast. Thanks for joining us for another one. We were trying to make these monthly. We recorded a little after the month. After the month. If you have something you want us to talk about, put it up on the podcast or the Patreon or the comments section of this podcast post, or you could just send me a message on Facebook. I'll probably send out a message asking for topics. I don't know what the next one we're going to do. We're probably always going to do some sort of news thing, just because if we're doing it once a month, but I want to work in some other things, top 5, a hot cocoa show kind of thing. Yeah. I made a post on Patreon. You can now apparently follow as a free person on Patreon. That's a new feature.
Oh.
So you could do that, and I've put some things up there that are just free for all patrons. So you can go check that out. Yeah. Rob, why don't you tell them how they can follow you on the internet?
Just at RobUFO on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and UFO83 on Newgrounds, I guess. I don't know. I still post on there as well. We got a really interesting comment on Newgrounds the other day. I forgot to share that with you.
Wait, we?
Yeah, for one of the podcast episodes, the Harry Potter's one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a long time since I signed it. I'll sign it at Newgrounds.
Easy. I know you guys are not going to read this, but I forgot to share this with you. Yeah, it was really.
Oh, okay, all right.
It was a fascinating.
I'll check it out.
So follow me there.
Wait. Is it good or is it disturbing? Like what?
No, it was good. Like at the end, he said, they said it was a fun episode. Okay, but a lot of I think construction.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind that. Okay, I'll log into. It's been a long time since I've logged into Newgrounds.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Stephen Brooks, how about you?
Well, you can follow me at Rubber everywhere. Apparently Newgrounds, but everywhere there is. I'm on Blue Sky, right? As well.
Oh,
is that a thing? Yeah.
Are you on Threads?
I'm on Threads.
I stopped posting there.
I posted one post, I think, on Threads, and that was it.
We were all excited, and then we were just like, yeah.
I wasn't excited.
F you, Elon, and then Igor.
I am not excited about any new social media anything. See you next month for another episode. If you're worried about something, just take a breath. Feels like another pattern. It's like an eclipse. People used to think eclipses were like something that was a heralding either an auspicious or terrible era. But we now know it's just math. It's just math. It just happens.
It's a total eclipse of the heart, and everyone loves it.
Total eclipse of the heart.
When it comes to AI, we won't need it more tonight. We won't need it more than ever.
Nice.
But you will turn around on AI.
Don't turn around.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
I mean,